We are having our Thanksgiving meal today so the guys can eat and relax and just spend time together.
It's always good to be able to share good experiences with your teammates. I mean, it gives us the opportunity just to love each other and talk to each other and experience this moment with each other.
It's always good being around the guys, you know, especially eating. We love food.
I love this every year. You know, we have the stuffing, the turkey, the gravy. You know, I look forward to this every day. It's like a pre-Thanksgiving. You know, around this week, I always gain about 5 more pounds.
So believe it or not, Thanksgiving meal is pretty similar to a regular performance plate. You're gonna have lean protein from the turkey, you're gonna have starchy carbohydrates from the potatoes, you're gonna have lots of color from the sweet potatoes, the green beans, the cranberries. So it's very similar to what they would be eating anyway. Not necessarily as high fat as what Mom would make, but very similar anyway.
Thanksgiving to me is just me looking back and being thankful for everything in my life, my family, my brothers, my mom, my dad.
I'm definitely most thankful for my family. Without them, I wouldn't be able to play at this great university. I wouldn't be where I am today.
Thankful for coming to Pittsburgh. Coach Narduzzi giving me the opportunity to come and play for this team.
To my mom, that's what I'm most thankful for. She's the best person in my life. And also I'm thankful for waking up every day and getting to play the game that I love.
Thanksgiving is all about food, football, and family.
I'm thankful for the University of Pittsburgh and one more home game.
It starts as a game, a gathering of friends. And slowly, as some begin to sit back, others stand out. The joy of playing turns to passion. And as the skills develop, so do the minds. And they begin to seek challenges, peers, and mentors to further their abilities and opportunities. The love and passion becomes a thirst for people in a place
we make history today in Pittsburgh
that will embrace and push a hunger for excellence
the ACC.
and to be in and among champions. These are the dreamers, scholars, leaders. These are the guides, teachers, mentors. And this is the opportunity, the challenge, the place. This is Pitt Beyond the Script.
This week on Pitt Beyond the Script, we check in with Coach Narduzzi as the Panthers return from the road and prepare for the final home game of the season. We hear from Pitt student athletes giving thanks by giving back to the community.
To be able to use our stage and our presence to help others.
A tribute to Pitt Hall of Famer and national championship coach Johnny Majors. We'll hear from Coach Capel.
I believe our responsibility in this profession is we coach, but also we teach.
And our cameras are there as the Pitt baseball team joins Andrew McCutcheon, Project Pittsburgh, and Dick's Sporting Goods to host a free youth baseball clinic. This week on Pitt Beyond the Script.
Everybody get in together, tight. Get in tighter. Now let's go. 1, 2, 3. Win.
Hello and welcome to Pitt Beyond the Script alongside Panthers head coach Pat Narduzzi. I'm Rob King of AT&T Sportsnet. Coach, let's take a brief look back at the Virginia Tech game on Saturday. First of all, did you have any kind of overall thoughts when you left the stadium and headed back to Pittsburgh?
You know what, there's always, you have thoughts. I mean, you don't stop thinking on that airplane back, and you try to evaluate, and you're watching videotape, on the airplane, on the bus trip from Blacksburg to Roanoke, watching what's going on and trying to just evaluate what happened. And it was one of those days that, offensively we just couldn't get going. We got in no rhythm. It was 3 plays and back on the sideline punt. I think we punted the ball 8 times. But you're not going to muster much offense when you do that. And we put our defense in a bad position. A lot of times we lost the time position. Our defense, besides really 3 explosive plays, and the big pass was one that really gets you. There's a couple of reverses they got on you that kept the drives going. But we gave up 14 points plus of the 28, we had a 25-yard drive when we go for it on fourth and short. So I was happy with the defense, and I thought our punt team was better than it's been because they brought a lot of pressure at us. They tried to come after some punts. We knew they would. That Beamer ball, and I thought we protected our punter, and our net punting was much better.
I will circle back to 2 things. First of all, we'll get to the offense in a moment, but the defense, really you talked about, first of all, people see 28 points maybe they didn't watch the game. They don't know that there's a defensive touchdown, the short drive, as you mentioned, and really, the offsides or the penalties was an issue. When you jump offsides on that 4th down late in the first half, they wind up scoring 7 more points there that maybe don't happen if you don't jump offsides there. So when you evaluate the defense, you can't simply look at the score.
No doubt about it. You can look at some of the stats after the game going, geez, they rushed that many times and got, less than 3 yards per carry rush-wise, and that's what you look at in the end. But you want to be perfect. The 3 plays that we gave up, especially the long pass, and Cam Bright went and made the tackle and gave us another yard to stand on there. But that was just a bust in the back end, and again, I have a route we hadn't seen in a coverage that we don't run a ton of, and those things happen.
And they implode. Loose ball. Pitt seems to have it in midfield.
When you talk about trying to defend a team as we move forward now and look ahead to the last game coming up against BC, it used to be, I think, teams had some subtle differences you had to be prepared for. It seems like this is a stark difference. Like Boston College is completely different than so many other teams you face. 2 huge physical running backs. They're one of the best running teams in the country, 6th in the nation in rushing yards per game. This is a different test than maybe defenses are used to these days.
It really is, but in Pittsburgh, we love this challenge. I love this challenge of playing that type of offense. It's back to old school. It looks a little bit like the old Big Ten when I first got into it back a few years ago, and it's what we're used to. It's kind of where we like to play. I'd much rather be sitting there, playing against that than playing in the spread offense, RPO at North Carolina. I guarantee you that. Our kids will be more comfortable playing this type of ball.
Well, it did make me wonder because teams, especially your front 7, are so used to, let's be fast. Let's get to the guys who are trying to get to the edge. Let's track down this quarterback who's got some speed. Maybe a little bit different than, hey, offensive linemen are going to come straight at you, try to blow you off the ball, and then the guy behind him one guy weighs 240, the other guy weighs 250.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're big backs. They're physical. AJ's, obviously, one of the best in the country. And the interesting thing about stopping their run, we got people blocking them, but the people don't realize it's harder to stop like last week's run because that quarterback is a threat. You're trying to defend 11, and that's another 220-pound guy, quarterback running the football. How many times did he carry the ball? I don't even know. At Virginia Tech with the hooker kid. So, now you got a guy that's going to hand it off, but there's less guys you have to defend. So it kind of gives you a little bit of numbers that way.
Well, a lot to play for, obviously, this Saturday, and for the Panthers continuing on in the 2019 season. And we're going to continue on with Coach Narduzzi coming up in just a little bit on Pitt Beyond the Script.
Last year was an embarrassment. Our holiday gifts did not deliver. We got tears, grimaces. We got the whole internet making fun of my husband's face.
Who wants avocado toast?
Not now, Derek. Not now! This year, we're gonna raise our gift game! Hail to Pitt!
Can I look in here?
Oh.
Responding to being a great football team, and that's what we got in here. Don't you ever question that.
1, 2, 3, dominate!
You have won Pitt's first Coastal Championship.
Intercepted at the 29-yard line.
And he's gone! Matthews. Got it! Panthers win!
Hail to Pitt!
Appreciate y'all coming out.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I think that it is really important because I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in whatever you're doing, like, oh, I'll go to class, I'll go to practice.
I just think it's so important because we just get so much here.
Being athletically good,
And there it is.
at the same time I want to use that as a way of giving back to the community.
Pittsburgh's my home. It's really important for me to be involved in this community that I really care about.
Just getting out in my city, particularly, and just doing things for the people that support me, just giving back, reaching my hand back.
It's bigger than basketball. Helping someone, respecting others, having fun, getting out there, placing yourself in positions to just be a blessing for other people.
Whether it's kids in a hospital going through a hard time, or if it's veterans, it's just they offer a lot of experiences for us to go out and just not help out, really just form relationships with people in the community.
Overall, just seeing like what's life like outside of basketball and being a student athlete. Some people struggle.
And you see things such as, oh, these kids might not have it as well as me, so me taking them shopping, they really enjoyed that. That was one of my favorite parts of last year, seeing the smiles on their faces when they got brand new coats and boots and gloves and stuff.
We'll go to food things and give them food and stuff, or just go to schools and read to them. Because that goes a long way, because I know when I was a kid, when I was little, if someone did that to me, I would envy that.
It's important because growing up, I've had role models, but I really didn't have anybody like hands-on with me and the things that I wanted to do specifically, like as far as football.
It's because I was that young kid, back in the day that I looked at college football, I looked at those guys like heroes, that was like the goal, like I wanted to play.
Just be in their lives and let them know that it's possible. All you gotta do is just stay on track. All you gotta do is just live it.
If I can just do that and pour that into someone who's looking to be something great one day, then that's what I want to do.
You appreciate that more. You can see the looks on their faces, like they light up.
Like the memory that's gonna stick with her, and you think wow, I kind of changed that day for that one little girl.
It's great. It makes you feel good about yourself, and especially if you can have a positive impact on them for whether it's just a couple minutes when you first meet them. It's something that I'll also remember for a long time.
And to be able to use our stage and our presence to help others, I think is great, and I love every part of it. So.
It's special. We love giving back to our community. That's what we do.
Baby shark doo 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 doo.
When you're a kid, this is where you want to be, so it's going to be a fun day, and we're just going to get after it.
Last day of a full week that I had running. The charity week is called Project Pittsburgh. It's just working with the different organizations and charities around Pittsburgh. Today we're running a free baseball camp for 130 inner city kids from around the Pittsburgh area. We got Urban Impact here and got some Pitt baseball players and some coaches there as well. Without them, I couldn't do this. It's big, and that's what this whole week's been about, is everyone chipping in and volunteering for a greater cause. And to end it off with a baseball clinic, I wouldn't want it any other way.
Pitt baseball is involved today because it's an opportunity to give back to the city. And when you have a player with the caliber and the clout of Andrew McCutcheon that reaches out, like, hey, we want to give back to the area, it's a great opportunity for our guys to learn some values.
It's awesome. We came in, got to meet Kutch, and I've been watching him play since I was 8 years old. He's a great player and an awesome guy. I really never met him before until today, and it's just awesome to see how great of a guy he is. He's a great role model.
Honestly, it's really cool to be able to meet Andrew, especially getting to work alongside with him. That's that much cooler to be able to talk a little baseball with him, pick his brain. It's a really cool experience. And then to give back to the community. All these kids, they look up to us, and it's really neat to be able to, spend the day with them and just give back to them and make them feel really special.
You're watching Pitt Beyond the Script.
When Pitt hired Johnny Majors,
He brought an attitude, pride, and enthusiasm that this program, this school had been lacking for too long.
He changed the culture in Pitt football, and he made people believe that we could win big in football, and he did it fast.
Johnny Majors was the ultimate PR man.
We owe Coach Majors thanks for bringing the iconic Pitt script to life.
Welcome to the Johnny Majors Show. Coach Johnny Majors, it's not certain for sure yet, but I kind of think the pollsters will say that the Pitt Panthers this week are number one.
But I would think so by all means. I see no reason why we wouldn't be ranked number one.
He had so much personality and charisma. He knew how to cultivate relationships with the media and with alumni, with booster clubs, with prominent people who could be of benefit to his program. He was very smart in that regard, and he enjoyed doing that.
I believe he was one of the best teachers I ever had in the sense of life. When you think you can't go any further, Coach Majors has pushed us to go to the next level.
John was never a man who lived in his fears. He'd always be willing to try something different, to surprise the opposition and put them back on their heels. Halftime of the Pitt-Penn State game, all of a sudden Tony Dorsett became a fullback. It put the Lions back on their heels, and I'm not going to say that the Lions were as good as Pitt that year. I don't think anybody in the country was.
He came to Pitt following a 1-10 season in 1972, and 4 years later, his fourth season at Pitt, 12-0 national champions. I don't know that any school, any coach has ever done anything to match that.
When he came here, he transformed this whole program, and that was the foundation of Pitt football moving forward. So that's what we all aspire to from what those guys did in '76.
That we're starting to develop together.
X-Man drives all the way in. Audice Tony, 15-footer is good. McGowan goes in for the jam. Wow! And the place is on fire.
We have to fight for it, we have to want it, and we have to go take it. That's our focus right now. We're gonna be good. Trust me on that.
Here we go. Everybody else on the side. Let's go. Guard right here. Contest. Contest right here. Lights up. Lights up.
We want to expose them to everything, and we want to teach. I believe our responsibility as adults, as professional adults, and what we do, in this profession is we coach, but also we teach. So when I say live, it's live. You're trying to score, you're ball screening, you're doing whatever. So defense, you got to know your coverage. One of the great things about my staff is that we all played Division I college basketball, and we were all pretty good players at our respective universities. We've walked in these kids' shoes. We've experienced the highs, the lows, the questions, the doubt. All of these things, we've experienced them. And now as adults, it's our responsibility, and a big part of our job is to teach them from the lessons that we've learned, and things like that.
Murphy wants another three. He's got it. And Pitt takes the lead by one.
So our new guys, we have 6 new guys, 5 of which are eligible to play this year. It's important for us to get to know them to get to know us, to know our coaching style, to know how we are, for them to see that we've told them that during the recruiting process, but what you say sometimes doesn't match up, and we always want to make sure what we say matches up. And so to see that, but then to also see how we interact in competition, to see how they interact in the heat of competition. There's a culture. And then the older people in the program teach the younger people. They demand it. And so we have that a little bit now because of this core group that we have back. And I'm seeing it right now. You have Xavier that's talking more, who never talked last year because he understands it a little bit more. Same thing with all of our freshmen. Even a guy like Terrell Brown, you hear his voice a little bit more because he knows it. And so we're already have growth and development there. because we have guys inside that locker room that are able to teach what the standards are and to not deviate from the standard.
This is the foundation, the toughness, the fight, being connected and together. All right, let's handle this the right way. Hey, together on three, 1, 2, 3. Make a statement today, have no regrets. 4 hours, everything you've got.
Blitz, he's hit, he's sacked, back outside the 20-yard line. Nope, he keeps it, and he pays the price. Big run, he's hit, he's sacked back at the 11-yard line.
He is smothered under. Panthers sack. Another sack for the Panthers defense. The Pittsburgh defense comes up with the play. Quarterback's going down on this play. Sack for the Panthers.
And it doesn't matter who the quarterback is for Syracuse, they're getting to him. Goes backwards, it goes down. Going to try to run and get away, cannot.
Another Panther sack at the 22. Sack number 41. Panther sack. Meet me at the quarterback. Wrapped up and brought down by...
One play at a time, everybody together gets it done. That's how we play. That's Pitt football.
To get started, let's introduce the 2019 seniors who will lead our team to victory this fall.
Welcome back to Pitt Beyond the Script, rejoined by head coach Pat Narduzzi. Coach, as we look forward to the game against Saturday, obviously a big game, really important game for the team, and I do want to touch on that in a moment. But it's also senior day. Before we talk about some of the seniors, what's it like for you? Because obviously you'll still see these guys, you still have a bowl game to prepare for, but this is an emotional moment for the kids, and I'm sure it is for you and the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, it is, Rob. You know, we will certainly see all these guys. I mean, Aaron Donald comes back, and I didn't even coach him. You know, it's going to be obviously an emotional day. It always is. And I think the longer you are with these kids, maybe the more emotional it gets. You've got more memories. And it's their last game playing in Heinz Field, so it's not a matter of just the last time you're going to see them and then they're off and gone and you never see them again. But it's their last game at Heinz Field. It's a game they'll never forget. And I think that's the important thing is you probably don't forget your last game as a senior in college. And these guys will remember this game for a long, long time.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of the seniors because these guys were early on in your recruiting process. Some of them were guys that you recruited just after or maybe kept commitments to just after you got hired. Other guys were part of your first recruiting class. I do remember the excitement, not only on campus and in the Pitt community, but in the Pittsburgh community at large when DeMar Hamlin decided from Central Catholic that he was coming to Pitt.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar Hamlin was obviously one of the top recruits in the area, and it was a great opportunity to have him come play in his backyard in his city and play home. We had some great visits with his family, just tremendous, family support he's got at home. It's just fun being able to be that close and have their families come. And DeMar's a special kid and that's gone through, like every senior, the adversity that we've been able to watch him grow through the adversity he's had with injuries and then become the man he has today and be able to play the way he's played on Saturdays for the Panthers this season.
And Dane Jackson, another local guy who's a captain of the team.
Yeah, I mean, Dane is a captain, a great leader, mature. Really didn't go through the same adversity that DeMar Hamlin went through, but a guy that's just every year just gotten better and a guy that you can count on every Saturday that was there. He's played a lot of football games and has been a mainstay in this defense for a long time.
Salim Brightwell, Maurice French. I mean, I could go on and on, Coach, but when you see guys, and not all of them are 4- or 5-star recruits, but when they progress, whether it is just a little bit because they're already a 4- or 5-star recruit or a lot because they just have more learning to do, more training, more tutelage needed. What's it like when you see these guys now coming out to play their final home game at Heinz Field?
It's amazing. I mean, you mentioned 2 Jersey guys. We talked about 2 Pittsburgh natives, and then we talked about our 2 New Jersey guys, Salim Brightwell and Maurice French. Again, Salim was a guy that I was recruiting at Michigan State when I left, and we kind of got him, to come to Pittsburgh. And you watch the way he's leading our defense this year. I mean, he's been the Mike, majority of the season, and he's just taken that role, and he's become a bigger and better leader as the season's gone on. So it's fun to watch those guys develop. Maurice French, he was recruited as a DB. And now he's got 70-some catches, in his senior year. And again, he still wants to play defense. I think he wants to play defense this week. He wants to play both ways if he could. He's asking when he's going to get a shot. But just to watch those guys develop, and you never know what's around the next turn. You think about a DB that's now a receiver and one of the top receivers in the nation right now.
When you look at where your program is, back then I think you were selling hope and a new beginning. Now you can sell, you won a Coastal Division last year, you win this game, you have a chance to get to 8, then maybe a chance to get to 9 wins. Do you feel the momentum going? And part of that momentum starting with your first 2 recruiting classes, these seniors who are going to be honored on Saturday.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, when you watch our football team play week in and week out, again, win or loss, success or no success, and you watch the guys we're playing with, I mean, our talent level has raised, okay? It's different than what we were playing with, when I first got here. And we had some great players, and Tyler Boyd and Juan Price. I mean, there's some great players, but our depth is different. We had those great players, but maybe there wasn't much behind it. But, the thing I see, and the hope that I see is that we're building a program. We've got depth at a lot of different positions, and when guys go down, we don't lose a whole lot at a lot of different positions.
You were asked an interesting question because I think a lot of times as we reflect on Senior Day, it's what these kids have supplied to the Panther program, but obviously the Panther program can supply something to these kids. Really interesting question. Some of these guys might not make it to Senior Day because they have a chance to get evaluated for the NFL draft, and you had some interesting comments about what to do with kids who get evaluated as first or second round possible selections.
Yeah, Rob, after the regular season's over, between that period of time when we played a bowl game, some of those guys may have some questions, and obviously the seniors are going to have opportunities and pro days. But what we can do for these younger guys is give them an opportunity to be evaluated by the NFL and find out if that's what they need. If they're going to be a first or second rounder, Rob, I'm going to give them a hug and say, let's go. You're going to have to do this. Even if they don't want to go, I'm going to push them out the door because they have an opportunity to set their life up for good forever. I think anytime you talk about draft status, in a first or second rounder, you can't turn the money down. They got to go. We'd have to push them out and make sure they get their degree if they are short there. And then, and the guys that are third rounders or better should stay. And that's probably the hardest job I'll have is trying to talk, them into staying, even though someone's in their ear saying you should go, but probably a bad decision because if a lot of those underclassmen, they wait another year, they're going to be a first or second rounder. And you waste a lot of money by leaving early.
Setting guys up for life is part of obviously the college experience, and whether you do it on the gridiron or off the gridiron, the life skills program, which is unbelievable at Pitt, the success rate of graduates getting jobs is just about 100%, which is an amazing thing the university can provide, again, for the football players and all the athletes.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're, an NFL guy or you're, maybe not an NFL player, the most important thing is we set these guys up for their future. Their parents dropped them off 4 or 5 years ago into our hands as coaches to develop them into men. And really, they're now able to walk on their own feet and be able to walk out this door and walk into another company and be a big success for them as well. And that's our goal with life skills. It's also our goal with academic support. Our academic support's unbelievable. And that's why we've had so many graduates before they even play their senior year. So even those guys that leave early, like Brian O'Neill left early, he already had his degree and he left early and made good money.
And one final thing, you talk about families, giving the Pitt family their kids. You have Thanksgiving celebration. A lot of the kids, obviously, most of the kids aren't going to be able to get home. What's that like to bring everybody together Thanksgiving? Because now this is part of their family, their extended family.
Yeah, we'll have a big Thanksgiving meal here for them. Not on Thanksgiving Day, earlier in the week. As a football family, Thursday morning we'll practice. We're even actually going to try to practice a little earlier in the day so they can travel and get somewhere. And we have so many local kids that will be able to get home. They don't have to be here till I think noon on Friday for that BC game. So a lot of our kids we'll get a chance to get home. We'll make sure, all 115 kids have a place to go. They'll either go to their buddy's house for turkey, they're gonna come to a coach's house, their position coach. My house is open, I take everybody. My wife just says, let me know when and what time they're gonna be here and how many people I've got so I can get the right food.
Oh, fantastic. Great to hear, and good luck. Big game, obviously, Saturday against Boston College.
They're all big, Rob. Let's go get one.
Good luck. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Coach.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
All right, thanks very much, and thanks to you for watching this edition of Pitt Beyond the Script.